How unbecoming.
You can't run! Hit! By royal decree!
Oh, goodness gracious! Boba, get them! Hit! Got lucky that time. Incoming! Hey! At least, no more work. One shall descend once again.
You've made some progress.
Speed of light.
Take you more serious. Haha, good. No wonder Senora was so wary of you. Well, that just means I can go all out. Brace yourself. This is about to get tough. Now, show me what you can do against the might of a Harbinger. Gotcha.
Get them!
No use hiding back
Speed
there.
of light.
The price of a single...
I will not go quietly. Out of the frying pan, into the fire! Don't blink! Nice and spicy!
Something else catch your eye? You've got some skills.
Boba, get them! That really hurt! Incoming!
Has your luck run out? Not bad. Your swordsmanship is quite impressive. But that's about as far as you'll get. Didn't think you had that card hidden up your sleeve.
You were just playing us to get close to the Exuvia!
Oh, quiet down. Stop acting like some wide-eyed recruit. You've seen this world. You of all people should know. This should have been expected! Well then, I'll be taking more Axis Gnosis now! Huh? I see. Well, this is most unexpected. You beat me to it, didn't you?
Not bad. But this is going to cost you! Yeah! You got to the Gnosis ahead of me, didn't you? Did you simply move faster? Or did you leak the information regarding the Golden House to me on purpose? No matter. Hand the Gnosis over, now! Don't make me take it from you!
We didn't take it! Don't blink! Hey! lucky that time. Cut to the chase. One step back, two forward.
Don't blink.
Out of the frying pan, into the fire.
Die here.
Nice and spicy. Hey! Good.
Dull.
Speed of light. Yeah. Race you.
Don't blink. With sword comes shadow.
You are cut above.
Look! Child's back to normal again.
Well then, time to cool off. It seems the burden of the foul legacy transformation was too great for my body. I lacked the opportunity to think this through. And now that I consider the matter more carefully, you never had any chance of beating me to the Gnosis. You had no connection to the Gnosis, no matter where it had been taken.
That's what we've been trying to tell you. We didn't take it.
Your show of ability today far surpasses that of Signora's initial assessment of you in Mondstadt. Tell me, how could that be? You already know the answer, don't you? I can see it in your eyes. But if that is a secret you wish to keep, I guess I'll just have to curb my curiosity. This battle has already left me satisfied. Anyone who strives as I do to grow stronger shall be called a friend, even if our friendship can only be shown in battle against one another.
Pretty sure that's not the normal way to make friends.
Unfortunately, I must bring this amiable conversation to an end. My quest still beckons. Given that the Gnosis wasn't taken by anyone, then we must look once again to the beginning. Perhaps it was never in the Exuvia to begin with. In fact, it might be that the Exuvia was just a diversion of sorts.
What? So you mean that...
Yes, it appears so. Interesting to say the least. It seems that the guardian deity of the capital of commerce is also well versed in little maneuvers. As such, we must now...
backup plan?
I had hoped it would never come to this. For the weak, the truth is, the world belongs to those who pursue strength. Unfortunately, we cannot...
So what are you planning to do?
I will awaken the god that lies...
A god?
Osile. Oh, if such an ancient god were to be unleashed upon Liyue Harbor, defenseless without the protection of its deity, do you think the cunning Rex Lapis would just stand aloof and watch the ensuing destruction?
But the Archon War ended 2,000 years ago. How can an ancient god appear in a world now overseen by the Seven?
Simple. I've already prepared the means to awaken it.
Hey, those are sigils of permission. Oh, Paimon remembers now. The Fatui have been researching them.
Indeed. The one that was given to you was just a byproduct of our research. With the power of so many sigils of permission concentrated in one place, along with that which was bestowed upon me as a harbinger by our Tsaritsa, breaking the subduing might of the Geo-Archon spears for a time should be no obstacle. Using the powers of ancient gods in such a situation fails to interest me, and is largely against my principles. But knowing that such an action will not only force the Geo-Archon... Let's see. Will the nation that has lost its deity be swallowed up by an ancient malice once more? If you wish to drown together with the people of Liyue, you're free to stay and enjoy the show.
Huh? He's already gone. That guy is fast. What's going on? If we hadn't happened to see the Jade Chamber flying over just as we came out... Did we make it in time? Is the...
What are you doing here?
Huh? Hold on. It's the Adepti. What are you doing on the Jade Chamber? Paimon thought you were arguing with the Chising.
Faced with a calamity of such magnitude, we...
Oh, Paimon gets it. So how did... Just seeing this overlord of the vortex... It's not just you. We've got new Millilith recruits who can't even stand at attention without shaking. Which is why we must stop that monster before it gets any... So the Archon War was fought 2,000 years ago. So will the power of the Chising, Millilith...
We've already discussed this.
What? Wait...
One certainly could.
Huh?
The Chising did one, and as fate would have it, for what could you mortal?
So be it. We haven't a moment to spare. Yep.
The three Adepti are manning the Guizhong Ballista. Do not let the Fatui disturb their work!
All able Millilith, with me!
Let's go help too!
We Adepti have not faced a god in several millennia. Let one see what you're made of then. What strength remains within you, one wishes to witness.
Nice and spicy!
Have a load of this!
Incoming!
Don't blink! Judgment!
Can't run! Miscalculated.
I summon thee!
Some quiet.
What is that?
That is Osial's divine power. I am very familiar with it. Be careful not to get hit.
Mein Fräulein.
The Fatui! Their attacks are unrelenting!
How daring. Snezhnai's diplomats will answer for this afterward. Every last one.
Cut to the chase.
Right there. Let's end this.
The ancient god's attacking again! There are so many to treat too! We can't help!
Were you about to say we can't hold them, children?
Huh?
Don't lose heart. Here, take this.
This is dental energy! That light from your body. It's like the time in Julian Cars. Wow, it's Madam Ping's shockwave. This granny's really strong.
Vga Quadro.
Yeah. Never. Yeah.
Don't be a killjoy. We've only just begun. I miscalculated.
With the blood of the Chilean, I guard you against evil. Cast your fear of injury by the wayside and fight with all your might. I too did this during the Archon War.
So this is what Ganya's like in a fight.
My name means swiftness. Take my power and run as I do.
We're going too fast.
Child, you are strong in body and spirit. Perhaps you can withstand 3 forms of adeptal energy at once.
This will hurt a little. Please bear with us.
Once you've adapted, try to use them in battle.
I guess this is it.
Look at me. Just once more. Race you! Boba, get them!
Not breaking a
You
sweat.
can't run. Lights out.
Yeah!
Don't get in the way.
Exercise caution. I fear that the god's power has reached its peak.
In other words, if we hold here, there's nothing worse to come, right? Punishing!
I guess this is it.
You can't run. Yeah. Shiver.
Eat this!
I do
Judgment. You can't run.
2.
Lights
Yeah! Nowhere to hide. Look at me. Speed of light. Good. Yeah! The Fatui's numbers are thinning.
Fight on, comrades! Once we finish this lot off, the Adepti will be able to deal with the god in peace.
The interlopers are no more. Now we may commit ourselves fully.
Be careful now.
The Guizhong ballista is destroyed. Without its covering fire, retaliation shall be difficult.
But the Jade Chamber is our last line of defense. We can't give another inch, no matter what.
I have another idea.
What do you mean, Lady Ningguang?
I'll sacrifice the Jade Chamber.
What is the meaning of this?
I understand.
Traveler, lend me a hand. Farewell, old friend. Goodbye for now. Let us meet again in the future.
In adventuring as in business. Is it finally over?
The ominous aura of that monster has... The effects of the Sigil of Permission last but a short time. It will be some time before the
We are indebted to you for your assistance. If the Adepti hadn't happened...
Save your fluff.
Come now. There's no need for such harsh words, Cloudrit. I've heard that when Ningguang... At first, it was only the size of a small... It is a testament to Ningguang's entire life, both as a businesswoman and as the backbone of the Liyue Qixing. Seeing the Jade Chamber destroyed in the defense of Liyue means much to her.
Well, I was really hoping you would say that... Thank you all for hearing me.
Oh?
3,700 years. According to our records, the Adepti signed a... Even to this very day, Liyue and its lands have stood the test of time, immovable as stone, just as it was thousands of years before. But that does not mean that the Liyue of today is the same city as it was all those years ago. Do not merely cast your protective gaze upon the land. Instead, focus your sights on our city and each of the citizens that...
Are you questioning our means of protecting Liyue?
I mean no offense. I simply hope that our Adepti forebears would see Liyue in a new light.
Forebearers, you say? One doubts you would be fit to be part of such a lineage.
This morning, Rex Lapis appeared to me in a dream.
What?
In the dream, I yearned to tell him that we Qixing, though mortal, are equally bound to the contract. Each passing generation of the Qixing leaves many things of value to be inherited by the next generation. I also thought to tell him how the past generations of Qixing had strove under his rule to survive in our mortal world, establishing a network of contracts which has since come to be known as trade. But I dared not speak. I could only gaze at him in silence until the moment I awoke.
Oh, Ningguang.
Yet another perspective. What are you trying to say, Outlander?
Right! That's something that happened in Mondstadt. It's a story about the Animal Archon sought to quell this...
Each of the 7 nations has...
Though your point is the very height of simply... As Adepti, we've become a laughingstock.
All right, all right. Didn't Ningguang suggest that we should focus on the city and each of its citizens? I know I already have, so why not see for yourselves?
I apologize for appearing in full armor. I am afraid I cannot show the proper courtesies.
And who are you?
I am Feng Yan, a sergeant of the Millilith. I have come to extend my thanks to the Adepti. I thought this battle would perhaps be my last. But thanks to the aid of the Adepti, our forces were not as badly battered as I feared we might be. Although I am a mere mortal soldier, I promise to hold the line and never betray the grace given to us by the illuminated Adepti this day.
Huh? Why does everyone look so down? Didn't we just beat that big monster?
Weren't you frightened, dear? It was quite the predicament.
I wasn't afraid. All the strong Millilith guards were there, and those powerful heroes with their visions were there. Everyone was there. When danger is near, everyone always protects me. And the rest of the time, they make fun toys and tasty snacks and loads of things that make the harbor so pretty. Thanks for protecting Liyue Harbor. Please come visit us for the next lantern rite.
Unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to participate.
Huh?
Because we are Adepti.
Oh, okay. It must be hard being an Adeptus. Aww.
You see, this is what Liyue is like today. The country of contracts is grateful to the Adepti for their protection. But it is no longer necessary for the city to rely on the Adepti's power to solve every little niggling matter. Although their blood is weak, there is still strength to be found in those we call mortals. The time of contracts between gods and Liyue has long since passed. Now is the time of contracts between Liyue and its people.
Seeing the port around us now, it is hard not to feel a bit out of place. Wouldn't you say so, Cloud Retainer?
Your line of inquiry is askew. One did not spearhead this expedition to Liyue Harbor.
Seems like the Adepti have had a change of heart.
Let us return now.
Eager to leave, conqueror of demons.
Yes, one understands what the Conqueror of Demons means. The city of Liyue has changed much after our long separation. One fears that by the time one finally grasps the new contracts of Liyue, you humans would have once again changed the place beyond recognition. Fair enough. Away we shall, and return whence we came.
Since we Adepti have consensus, then one shall persist no further. But how will we ensure that the Liyue Qixing will not simply exploit their power once we depart? In my view, that is still a thing to be guarded against.
All right, Mooncarver, you needn't worry. It seems to me that this right of supervision is best left to the people of Liyue.
Looks like the conflict between humans and Adepti was avoided. All's well that ends well, huh? Oh, right! It's nice that we've got peace and all, but we're forgetting one thing. Child wanted to unleash the god so he could lure Rex Lapis out. But we were able to handle the Overlord of the Vortex on our own, so Rex Lapis never showed up. Oh, and speaking of that, don't we still need to get to the bottom of that Archon's death, too? Hyman doesn't get it. But isn't... The strongest lead we have, the the Adeptiless rite of parting that we're organizing? No idea where Zhongli's gone. Let's ask for him at Wangshan Funeral Parlor.
Is there anything I can do for you two? I'm afraid that Wangshan funeral...
We've come to see Zhongli. Could you please tell him we're here?
Unfortunately, Zhongli isn't here at the moment. It seems...
Doesn't the Northland Bank belong to the Fatui? Last time we saw Zhongli was before we went to the Golden House. Do you think he doesn't know about the attack on Liyue? Visiting the Fatui at a time like this could only mean more trouble. We had better go and make sure that everything is okay.
Join the Adventurers Guild. You'll have a blast.
Incoming.
And with that, fate Wu-Hua brother was
You call this cooperation between Harbingers? Cooperation involves communication, you know.
Don't take it to heart, child. Besides, aren't you happy that you got to skip the formalities and bring chaos to the land? I'm sure you must have enjoyed that. Oh, it seems that some of your friends have arrived.
Hey, it's Zhongli and Child. And you!
It's you two. I believe we've met once before. In the city of Bards, was it? I'm glad you still remember my name. Ah, right. I imagine that it must have been rather hard to forget watching helplessly as—
Well, if it isn't you two, this is our—
Paimon knew that we should never have trusted a Fatui Harbinger.
Oh, now don't say that. Sure, I may have misled you, but I never had anything against you personally. Besides, I thought we were getting along quite well together, didn't you? Except for that little tussle we had at the end. Nothing personal. We just have different views, that's all. Of course, you may very well hold this against me, but that's up to you. The real deceivers here are Senora and Zhongli. Curse them for leading me. So actually, I think...
Stop wasting time, child. There'll be plenty of time to chat once I'm through here. You remember the agreement, Morax. Now, if you would be so kind.
What in the world are you talking about?
The contract is fulfilled. That which thou seeketh is now bestowed unto thee. For my promise is solid as stone.
How sanctimonious.
What? So you're the Lord of Chiao? No, wait. That's an exciting twist and all, but why give the Gnosis to the Fatui?
I do not give it for free. I give it as agreed upon in the contract, for it is a matter solely between the Tsaritsa and I.
Yeah, you don't think you went a little bit too far with that whole fake death thing? Everyone was preparing the ceremony for you, and splat! This big dragon falls out of the sky, and all of Lyric goes into an uproar. Talk about a disaster.
Gathering all the forces that had been bubbling behind the scenes, and then stirring them together in a pot that was bound to boil over. That's what he wanted to see, am I right?
Wait, what?
Perhaps it's best that I explain. As you know, I've dwelt upon this world for more than 6,000 years. It is now 3,700 years ago that I founded Liyue, together with the Adepti. Even boulders that can withstand whirlpools will erode with the passing of time. I kept convincing myself that cracks had not begun to form, and that the end of my time had not yet come. Until one drizzly day, as I was strolling along the harbor, I heard a merchant tell one of his workers, "You've finished your duties. Go ahead and call it a day." I stood motionless among the crowds, asking myself, have I already finished my duties?
Oh, Zhongli.
But as I began to consider relinquishing my divine role, I soon discovered that many reasons still remained to not hastily depart. Was Liyue, the city I had dwelt in for so long, already prepared to enter its next age? I decided that a test was needed in order to reveal the answer. So I feigned my own death, and gathered the cast of Child, the Adepti, and the Liyue Qixing to play their roles together. Indeed I was. The Gnosis, which I had kept for so many years, suddenly seemed to have lost its meaning. That's right, which is why I continued to safeguard the Gnosis until now.
So you mean that if the chaos ever reached the point of no return, you would simply appear and use your divine powers to bring Liyue back under control?
Of course, and it would have been all too easy for him too. Just as a child quickly matures after losing their parents, so has Liyue matured when faced with the death of its deity.
In the end, the resolution to all that has transpired was even more satisfactory than I could have hoped for. Take the Adepti, for instance. Owing to their years of seclusion, they were the least informed. Yet when faced with a crisis, they commendably showed the greatest amount of restraint possible. Not only did they manage to cooperate with the Qixing, but in the end, they even made efforts to understand the hearts of the people. Credit is also due to Signora, the emissary dispatched by the Cryo-Archon to fulfill our contract. At my request, she kept everything she knew in strict confidence. This despite the eavesdropping ears of her colleague, Child. This meant I could remain as Zhongli, even having the chance to fulfill the age-old traditions of Liyue in this mortal form. Thank you for joining me on this journey, traveler. All of these things turned out as I had planned. There is only one thing that I had not anticipated, and that was the conduct of the Liyue Qixing. I had expected them to do no more than the Adepti, to come to the defense of Liyue. But when all was said and done, they seized the opportunity to supplant Liyue's divine protectors, and used the subsequent power vacuum left by my death to quickly gain complete control of Liyue.
Huh? That doesn't sound good at all!
Ha! On the contrary, I think it is excellent. I had always feared that it was too soon for them to take over from me. And it was also that which I longed for the most. As such, this is the best parting gift anyone could have given this god of old.
Hey, what about me? Doesn't anyone feel the least bit of remorse for deceiving me? You've practically kept me in the dark!
I think that thanks would be more appropriate. You certainly played no small part in all of this, wreaking havoc and turning the city upside down. The Lord of Geo ought to thank you for your performance, if anything. If you hadn't created the pressure of a battle between mortals, Adepti, and a god, the lump of coal resting in the hands of the Geo-Archon, Liyue would never have been able to become a dazzling diamond of a city.
Huh? Just whose side are you on, mocking me like that? Are you itching for a fight? Be that as it may, you've come out of this as the hero of Liyue. I, on the other hand, will be forever prescribed as a disturber of the peace, no?
Well then, with the Gnosis in my possession, I have no use for such idle chatter. We should return to Zappolyarny Palace and seek an audience with Her Majesty, the Tsaritsa. Come, child.
Fine. I'll meet you there later. I'm not sharing a boat with the likes of you.
Do as you wish.
Now then, is there anything else you wish to ask me?
Right! As Zhongli always told us, a good trade is a fair trade. Paimon has no idea what could be a good trade for a Gnosis.
Realistically speaking, there is no such thing.
Huh?
However, I am the god of contracts. For thousands of years, I have made countless contracts. If the deal was of no benefit, then I certainly would not be inclined to agree to it. My agreement with the Cryo-Archon will be the last of my contracts as the Geo-Archon. My contract to end all contracts. As for the bargaining chip that the Tsaritsa used to balance the scales, uncover that answer for yourself in your future journeys.
Today's the day of the rite of parting. Although the star of the show is fake, we spent so much time trying to organize it. It would be a real shame not to go there now.
Well, so oh, come on. There's only one real possibility. Fatui? Shh. Lower you.
You know that god from the ocean couldn't have just...
Yes.
Say.
Now that you... I mean, it all fits. Still, what's...
Ah, forget.
Hear ye all! Though a dragon soars ageless as the mountains, it too must return. Gods and Adepti live glorious lives. Rumors and hearsay abound on the streets that Rex Lapis would, having been thwarted in his trial. Rex Lapis's soul has recouped the celestial heights, nor are they to believe street-born rumors or indulge in baseless speculation.
So that's how they're spin. Something feels off. Why would they say? Could the Qixing already have known that Rex Lapis wasn't dead? But Zhongli... Did Zhongli tell them in secret after his gnosis? Exactly, right? Ooh, seems like the rite of parting has been... It's Ningguang and Keqing.
As said previous,
3,000.
we the people of Liyue Now that we have will you stand with...
So concludes the word. Does Her Eminence the Yuha... Traveler.
Yikes! She really...
Is that the traveler who they say...
So young. The Liyue Qixing always repay their debts. Name your price.
Whoa...
Well, could you help me put up some missing person posters?
Huh. But it seemed, well...
Perhaps...
As for the more...
Hey, Zhongli! Look at this. Everyone in Liyue is caught up in their emotions, thinking that they'll never see... And here you are looking all relaxed.
Why would I not feel more at ease after laying down... Right. If the two of you can spare the time, I should...
Ha! That sounds like big talk, Zhongli. Paimon might have believed you if you were treating us to some third-round knockout, but you'd have to pay out your nose just to stand inside Qinyue kiosk. Are you...
You're right. I do lack the Mora.
But why would Morax lack Mora?
As the Rex Lapis Morax, I can easily create Mora. But since I have chosen to walk this earth as the mortal Zhongli, I should have... When I was journeying with you, though I still had the Gnosis in hand, I knew that I must soon retire from my role as an Archon. So I had...
Oh, no wonder! Paimon gets it now. You didn't look at the price tags when we were... But since you weren't used to not being able to just make more Mora as and when you wanted to, you had...
Well, we were only spending Fatui money. You don't have... In the City of Commerce, we do not merely exchange money or goods. We also exchange knowledge. The Archon Morax could never experience life as the true mortal Zhongli could. No matter... I will treasure the memories that I made as Zhongli. Traveling, that is true. I fear that continuing your journey may be difficult. The Electro-Archon Ball.
Paimon thinks we've heard that...
That is the case. And since Raiden is also the Shogun of Inazuma,
That said, Zhongli, since you're Rex Lapis, shouldn't...
It's because of visions.
Visions?
When faced with circumstances beyond... But if a person shows truth, this is what visions are.
Uh-huh. That's how people...
But starting from last year...
Vision hunt?
Yes. It was an order to seize all visions.
They want to seize visions. But why? Aren't visions...
I should think that in the Raiden Shogun's eyes, it is precisely because they are divine blessings.
Whoa.
The Animo Archon is the god of freedom, and the Geo Archon is the god of contracts. For her part, the Raiden Shogun is the god of eternity. The fact that even I, the oldest of the seven, have now passed away, will only strengthen knowing her. She must have again quoted that adage she is most fond of when proclaiming 7 ideals for 7 gods. And of these, eternity is nearest unto the heavenly principles. All right then. Was there anything else you wish to know? Well then, I suppose you'll have to find a way to get inside this closed nation.
Come on, enough procrastinating. Let's go. give, you receive.
Ah, children, come.
Oh, what?
Oh, no, no. In fact...
A gift? For Paimon?
Oh, child, you are so very modest. Uncommonly so, even. But when you traversed my old teapot in search of the cleansing bell, I heard your little friend mention that you often camp out in the wilds. That simply won't do. Especially since I imagine you still have a very long journey ahead of you. Fortunately, I have not yet grown so old as to see my subspace creation abilities atrophy. Oh, did my friends never mention that to you? Well then, it is a blessing we old folks once received from Rex Lapis, part of our illumination, if you will. I will not go into too much detail, but subspace creation is the ability to create a small, autonomous pocket world. The teapot that you entered previously was a little trinket created using that ability.
So, in the eyes of an Adeptus, creating a magic teapot world is just child's play, huh?
Oh, indeed, the teapot is nothing to boast of. One such as myself must depart from this realm to create a world of one's own. Rex Lapis, on the other hand, moved mountains and seas. That is what one might call an exercise of true power. But that's enough nostalgia for now.
That's right! Finding stuff's what we're good at, after all.
Oh, settle down now, children. There's no need for you to go running hither and thither. I have already found a fleet-footed youngster to prepare what I need. What's more, I doubt that you would know how to find the materials I am searching for. Some of them are very rare indeed these days. Well, for starters, I require some shimmer soil from the banks of Dihua Marsh. Back in the day, it could only be found where the glaze lilies thrived most profusely. You would have to dig downward, following the roots of the glaze lilies, and if you were lucky enough, you just might find a small patch of shimmer soil there. But almost no one has been able to find shimmer soil in this manner since Dihua Marsh came to be the way it is today. Even more difficult to find is smaragdus jadeite, which must be chiseled from the rock of the chasm. Or so it used to be. Ever since the Blackcliff Forge opened for business, they've slowly but surely stripped the mines all but completely bare of it. In any case, smaragdus jadeite is an adepti treasure, and the adeptal power within is not something that most humans can withstand. Extended contact with it is, in fact, harmful to humans. Goodness knows if that child will succeed in finding these items.
Well, since you're an Adeptus, Granny, the person you asked for help, they must be an Adeptus too, right?
Yes. I suppose she does count as an Adeptus.
She counts? How come there are so many Adepti in Liyue Harbor? We seem to bump into them all the time. It feels like even when you go out to eat, you could be sitting next to an Adeptus and never even know it.
Oh, maybe so. Who can say? A fair few of my old friends are rather fond of mundane mortal life, after all.
I'm back, Granny. Oh, I don't believe we've met.
Ah, allow me to do the honors. This child here is Yanfei. She's the one helping run some errands for me. Yanfei, I believe you already heard of the Traveler and his traveling companion.
Of course, who hasn't? Much has been written about you in the Millilith's records. You became one of Liyue's most wanted after the Millilith marked you as a suspect following the incident at the Rite of Dissension. After which, you fought off the Millilith at Julian Karst and made contact with the Fatui. Before finally defeating an ancient god together with Granny and her associates, and subsequently being cleared of any and all suspicion by the Qixing. What a shame. A shame that we didn't meet sooner. If we had, well, I can't say that I would have been able to clear you of suspicion immediately, but it certainly would have been less, embarrassing for you. Allow me to introduce myself once more. I'm Yanfei, a legal advisor. Got a legal problem? You can come right to me. Oh, yes, here's my business card. You'll find it has my contact details and office address. Keep it handy. If you have an urgent issue, just leave me a note at this address. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, I offer a very generous discount for first-time customers.
All right, Yanfei, all right. Let's get to the business at hand. I do not think these two are in any dire need of legal assistance at the moment. You'll have to excuse Yanfei. She's always been like this, ever the talkative one.
Paimon was gonna ask the same question. You seem really different from the ones we've met before. An Adeptus? I guess, kinda. My old man said he was one anyway. He mentioned that he once campaigned with Rex Lapis for a long old time, and then after that was all over, they had me, and once I was all grown up, the two of them upped and left on a journey.
Well, that's a bit casual for an Adeptus. Aren't you guys supposed to sign solemn contracts to protect Liyue Harbor and all that stuff?
Well, my dad did say that he'd talked it through with Rex Lapis, and that he was fine with it. Even contributed anyway. Let's not dwell on that too much. So, Granny, I've gotten a hold of most of the stuff you asked for, except for Smaragdus Jadeite. I couldn't find—
Is that so? Yanfei, are you
I know, Granny, you've told me 1,000 times already.
Whoa, that's a...
Commercial consultancy. Or Crossel. A Snezhnayan merchant who once came. He mentioned that he would. So, I guess I'll go look for him. Oh, you want to
Wow. Best we be a little more careful.
You give, you receive. Hello, Mr. Crossel. How's business been?
Oh, good, very good. All things...
You're too...
Miss Yanfei.
Wait,
No, I'm not worried. The contract makes it quite clear. In return, I included a clause that guarantees the Smaragdus Jadeite is genuine, with a penalty of 10 times the item's value payable by me to Ms. Jiqiao in the event that it is shown to be a fake.
Guaranteed genuine, with 10 times the value payable if this claim is shown to be false? Yes.
Of course. This way, both the client and I have the assurance we need. To ensure fairness, each of us has retained an original copy of the contract.
In that case, might you know where Miss Jiqiao lives? We'd like to pay her a visit and have a look at the hairpins.
Oh, of course. She wrote her address down when we signed our contract. Here, I'll mark it on your map for you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Crossel. We'll be off now.
Whatever shall I do? Yes, that's me.
How do you do, Monsieur Chow? We understand from Mr. Crossell that you recently rented a pair of hairpins from him. My associates and I are very interested in them. Would you mind letting us—
The hairpins? I don't know how it could have happened. I always kept them right by my side, and I hadn't even worn them yet. I spent so much money on them. If I have to pay their original value... My family is in the ore business too, but business has been suffering ever... We now have a backlog of paid-up orders just sitting around. A big banquet is coming up in a few days, and several ore merchants I know of will be there. That's what the hairpins... But now that I've lost...
Why does Paimon have a sudden strong sense of déjà vu?
Would you really? I sent a commission to the Adventurers Guild, but I haven't heard any...
Hold on. Don't run off looking for the hairpins just yet. Monsieur Chow.
Huh? Well, I mean, sure.
Let me see.
That's right! Yanfei said she's a legal advisor, didn't true? Though surely there must be a win...
Right. I finished reading the contract. The terms are very clear, and they do indeed stipulate that you must pay Mr. Crossell the... Furthermore, the contract also expressly states that the amount of compensation must... And given the rarity of Smaragdus Jadeite, I fear that the final amount of compensation...
Even higher? Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Jichou looks...
However, all of this is assuming that it is indeed genuine Smaragdus Jadeite that was inlaid into the hairpins.
Did you really have to pause before saying that part? Anyway, the hairpins are lost, so how exactly would... Whichever way you look at it, we've got...
Except that if we found the hairpins, there'd no longer be any need to check whether the Jadeite is genuine, would there?
Please. Please, Don't trouble yourselves over this. However much it is, I will have to pay it. My family are merchants, after all. It's vital that we keep our word and respect our contracts. Now that it's come to this, I really shouldn't keep Crossell in the dark any longer. I'll go...
Yes, legally speaking, it seems this is the most sensible course of action. But before that, so hold on a moment, Monsieur Chow. When you first touched the hairpins,
What did I feel? Well, I remember that the gemstone set into the pit. My family has seen much jade pass through its hands in the past, so...
Smooth to the touch. No, it's nothing. I just need to re-examine a few things.
Ah, Miss Yanfei, you've returned. With Miss Jichou in tow. You lost them? Are you serious? Do you have any idea how expensive they were?
I'm sorry. Truly I am. I'll pay the compensation as per our contract. Every last mora.
Mora? Do you have any idea what I had to go through to get my hands on that Smaragdus Jadeite? I just don't... Forget it. Talking won't bring them back. Since Miss Yanfei is here, I suppose we can just have her estimate the amount that needs to be paid.
No problem. But before I can give an official estimate, I'll need to do a little market research. Yes, and if I may just confirm again, it was in fact genuine Smaragdus Jadeite inlaid into the hairpins, correct?
Of course. Genuine article guaranteed, or I pay back 10 times the value.
All right, understood. I'll conduct some market research, and once I'm back, I'll provide an official assessment of the sum owed by Mr. Chow in compensation. Please wait here, Mr. Crossell.
Thank you very much. How could she lose my hairpins? She'd better pay every last mora that they're worth.
Looks like I'll have to find some way to raise that money.
Please wait, Mr. Chow. I have something to discuss. It's not convenient to speak here, so let's find somewhere that we can sit and...
Miss Yunfei, what is this about? Are you...
No. What I wanted to talk about is, there is a chance that the Orin laid on those hairpins may not be Smaragdus Jadeite after.
What do you mean? Are you implying that you already sneaked off and found them?
Obviously not. I'm no adventurer, let alone a member of the guild. I don't run thankless, time-consuming errands for a living. Let's just say I made some deductions. I don't know if Granny told you this, but Smaragdus Jadeite is found deep underground and contains very concentrated elemental energy. If mere mortals come into contact with it, well, they'll be sick in the best case. And in the worst case, they could even experience a dramatic change of personality. It most certainly would not be smooth to the touch. Mr. Chow, did you at any time feel unwell while the hairpins were in your possession?
No, not at all. I felt perfectly fine the whole time. Not even the slightest bit unwell. I didn't feel anything special at all, in fact.
Now that is strange. I noticed earlier that there were elemental traces in Mr. Crossel's vicinity. If I've deduced correctly, he may still have the Smaragdus Jadeite in his possession.
If that's the case, we should go confront him right now and expose his dirty scam right to his face!
Absolutely not. If we were to confront him now, there's no way he would admit to it. Eventually, he would find some argument to compel us to leave. And then, he'd throw the Smaragdus Jadeite into the sea the moment we were gone. After that, he would simply insist that Mr. Chow pay up per the contract. He would lose nothing. Meanwhile, we would have to look under every stone in Liyue, hoping and praying that the hairpins do actually still exist somewhere in this world.
So vivid that Paimon thinks it might be experience talking.
Oh, it certainly is. I've seen my fair share of situations like this, and brute force methods are certainly one way of resolving them. Fortunately, I have far more elegant solutions at my disposal. I'll share them with you in due course.
Well then, since you're so experienced in dealing with problems like this, perhaps you could help me, Miss Yunfei.
Oh, that won't be a problem. But first, Mr. Chow, can I ask you to please sign this contract?
Huh? Does there have to be a contract for everything? Paimon can't even keep track. It feels like Yanfei is even more concerned with them than a certain someone else we know.
These are my formal terms of engagement. Everything prior to now has just been pro bono advice. But for me to investigate any further, I require a written contract. Any work commissioned but not bound by a contract cannot be relied upon.
I understand. Then I will be glad to place this matter into your capable hands if you will take it, Miss Yunfei.
No problem. Just sign here, and I'll sign too. Okay. Now write your address here, and then sign on this page as well. And I'll also need your signatures on pages 5, 7, and on the very last page. Finally, if you could just use this ink pad to make a handprint over here.
This contract has so many pages. Paimon's all out of brains.
All right, that should do it. My fees are the same as always, and they're written in the contract. Have a look through and let me know if you have any questions.
I've had a read through. Everything checks out.
Well then, here's your copy of the contract. I will retain the other copy. Not for now, no. Despite how intractable this problem might sound, it will actually be quite straightforward to resolve, once we've got some things squared. I don't believe you have been part of an investigation like this before,
Miss Yunfei, I have to ask.
Because, as it happens, I'm currently trying to acquire some Smaragdus Jadeite myself. I noticed strong traces of Whether he actually made it into an item of jewelry or not is a separate matter. But either way, it's a lead. As long as we follow it, who knows? We might just be able to get our hands on some Smaragdus Jadeite. Also, the idea of someone abusing the law to their advantage. But again, let's not dwell on this. Ah, I've got it. If Mr. Crossell had his
Why, hello there, honored customers. Welcome to... Oh! It's you, Miss Yanfei. Is something the matter? Surely not more spurious claims that my jade betting is rigged and no one can ever win? Oh, I swear on all that is sacred.
No, nothing of the sort. Has a Snezhnine merchant named Crossel enlisted your ore processing services recently by any chance?
A Snezhnine merchant named Crossel, you say? That was the first. He was quite generous. Why, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Huh? If my eyes don't deceive me, the cross-sections and... Yes, it's not particularly rare, nor is it especially valuable. I've heard it said that Smaragdus nephrite is in fact the outer layer of Smaragdus jadeite, though no...
A thin layer of separation. If you must see for yourself, try examining these shavings for traces of elemental energy. Smaragdus...
Is that so? Well, so, did you find anything? So they really are different. But wait, how come Jichao was able to tell what it was?
There's nothing special to it. It just so happens that I've come across a great many of these in my time. These two stones actually look very similar. Someone without a deep understanding of them would find it there may be only a subtle difference for the casual viewer, but that translates to and I'm sure, a significant difference in the cost of having them carved into shape.
All right, let's focus up. We're going off on a tangent.
But never mind, Shirto. Why would Mr. Crossel...
Unusual actions have unusual reasons behind them. Let's take some of these shavings back to Chateau.
Miss Yanfei? Might I be so bold as to inquire,
If you could just confirm for me once more, sir. Mr. Crossel did indeed claim that the ore he brought to your store was in fact Smaragdus jadeite, did he not?
Yes, that's right. I still have a record of the job with me, in fact. Here. It says quite clearly, 1 chunk Smaragdus jadeite, uncut.
Then I have no further questions. But could I borrow the processing record and these stone shavings?
Of course. But might I ask why you need them?
Oh, I have my reasons. Ah, yes. Please sign here on this affidavit. This document shall serve as signed proof that these stone shavings originated from the, ore that Mr. Crossel brought to your store. Please read it carefully.
Yes, I see. Forgive me for asking again, Miss Yanfei, but might I know the nature of the incident on this occasion?
I wouldn't say there's been an incident, just a minor issue. Thank you, sir. I'll take these with me.
With this hard evidence to back us up, Crossel won't dare try to deny what he did.
On the contrary, this is far from sufficient to build a case. We need to find something a little more compelling. If you want to make jewelry, you need a professional jewelsmith. Let me think. Jewelry. Nope. Aha! Got it! Sinxi. She often helps people to find a jewelsmith. Let's go pay her a visit.
Well, that was quick. How come you know so many people?
Because lots of people come to me for legal advice every day. As you know, Liyue Harbor is the city of contracts. And contracts, well, I should say laws, are very important to us. But the amendments made by the Tianquan to our laws are unnecessarily complicated. How can I put this? It just seems like they're hard to understand and impossible to finish. As such, legal advisors like myself provide quite the popular service indeed.
So you help them make sense of the law. But didn't you say that it's hard to understand and impossible to finish?
Yes, well, that's no obstacle because I've memorized all the legal codices.
You memorized them?
You sound surprised. Knowing the law inside out is a legal advisor's bread and butter, you know? this has nothing to do with being an Adeptus. I just like reading things.
Again with that casual tone.
Well, that's that then. Let's go look for Singsi.
Oh, Miss Yenfei, it's you. Has something happened? Did the client from last time,
Have no further trouble from then on? Yes, of course. I'm just here to ask you a few questions. Has a merchant by the name of Crossel asked you to put him in contact with a jewelsmith recently?
Crossel? Yes, I remember him. He's a merchant from Snezhnaya, no? Yes, he came to me with a chunk of something he called Smaragdus Jadeite. The design of the hairpins that he gave me was quite intricate, so it took me some work to find someone who was up to the job. Eventually, I found an older jewelsmith who made them exactly according to his specifications. This order was on hold for a very long time, and only completed quite recently, which is why I remember it so well.
Doesn't seem like there's any evidence to be found here.
Miss Inksy, I'd like for you to confirm for me once more. When Mr. Crossel commissioned you to find him a jewelsmith, did he or did he not assert that the material he presented to you that day was called Smaragdus Jadeite?
Yes, I'm sure of it. The hairpins were made using many expensive materials, and the asking price was quite high, so we had to put this transaction on record with the Ministry of Civil Affairs. Mr. Crossel wasn't very familiar with the necessary procedures, so I filed it on his behalf. I also kept a copy for my own records. See for yourself, the item is called Smaragdus Jadeite Twin Phoenix Pins. The inlaid gemstone is recorded as Smaragdus Jadeite. The document even has the official seal of the ministry on it.
Thank you, Singsi. Now, could you let me borrow this document?
Sure, it isn't serving much purpose here anyway. I take it then that there's been some more trouble?
Nothing you need to worry about, just a minor issue. I'll return your document as soon as I'm done with it. Thanks again.
Why is everyone's first reaction always to assume someone or something is in trouble?
I believe we have almost all the evidence we need. We just need to make one last trip. Let's go to
The weirdo with the snake around his neck? What do you want to speak to him for?
Because only he can provide an authoritative statement confirming that Smaragdus Jadeite is harmful to the human body. Once we have this final piece of evidence in our hands, we can wrap this case up.
Jewelry's out of stock, but we have some new items in.
My, to what do I owe the pleasure? Though I'm afraid that if you're looking for our little Chi-Chi, she's out gathering herbs. And if it isn't Miss Yenfei as well, now that's an even rarer honor. What business brings you here, might I inquire? Some charlatans peddling ineffectual medicines again, no doubt?
No. I'm here this time to ask if you're familiar with Smaragdus Jadeite.
Smaragdus Jadeite? Why, yes, there is some information about it included in the 6th commentary on the 7 mountain treatises. The Seven Mountain Treatises states that this substance springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains, and will bring disaster to any mere mortals who touch it. It is abundant in elemental energy, so if someone without a vision is in contact with it for a prolonged period, best case scenario, they fall ill. Worst case scenario, they'll suffer great changes in personality, and their illness will only ever get worse. Anyway, I'm sure you didn't come all this way just to chit-chat. Knowing you, Yanfei, and given the specific nature of your question, I suppose that you're about to ask me to write an official affidavit attesting to the pharmaceutical peculiarities of Smaragdus jadeite?
That is indeed the case. If you would be so kind, Dr. Baiju.
No trouble at all. It's just a single document. Won't take me a moment. I would mention, though, that you are not the only one who's developed a curiosity for Smaragdus jadeite recently. A Snezhnayan merchant came to ask me about it not long ago. But after I gave him my reply, his expression shifted to one of remarkable disappointment. I wonder, Miss Yanfei, if your pressing business might be related to this Snezhnayan merchant?
Ah, you needn't concern yourself about that, Dr. Baiju. Thank you for penning us that document. I'll make sure to compensate you in due course.
You're too kind. Take care now.
That Baiju guy is as weird as ever. Is it just Paimon, or does it feel like he was fishing for something back there?
Dr. Baiju's always been like that. Well, we have the evidence we need.
Miss Yanfei, have you finished your investigation? I trust you will now be in a position to assess the compensation due.
Yes, my investigation is indeed concluded. I can now provide a final figure for the amount payable.
Wonderful. Well then, please, could you do the honors, Miss Yanfei?
Of course. According to the stipulations of the contract, Mr. Crossell, you must pay Mr. Chow 10 times the original transaction price in Mora.
Sure. Wait, what? Me pay her? Surely there's been some kind of mistake, Miss Yanfei.
Not at all. According to my investigations and the material evidence that we've gathered, the substance claimed to be Smaragdus jadeite that was inlaid within the Smaragdus jadeite twin phoenix pins that you rented out to Mr. Chow was, in fact, Smaragdus nephrite. Now, the contract states very clearly that 10 times the price shall be paid should the article not be genuine. Accordingly, you are liable for this sum, which is payable to Mr. Chow in Mora.
Material evidence? What material evidence? Why, Miss Yanfei, you cannot frame me like this. I spent a huge sum to obtain that Smaragdus jadeite, and yet you claim that the ore inlaid on the hairpins is somehow fake? I demand to see your evidence.
Indeed. Only a testimony from an expert witness involved in the processing of the ore can serve as an authoritative assessment of whether it is genuine. Traveler, please produce the evidence in question. This is a processing record from the Jade Mystery, along with stone samples and an affidavit signed by the business owner, Chateau.
Seriously? Even the boss there couldn't differentiate between Smaragdus jadeite and Smaragdus nephrite. How does this prove anything? In any case, Smaragdus nephrite is the outer layer of Smaragdus jadeite. So I had him cut away the nephrite, he returned the valuable jadeite core to me, and some nephrite samples remain in the store. What am I missing exactly?
That's an unsubstantiated belief.
Well, your claim that my ore is fake is just as unsubstantiated. And we are here to talk about evidence, aren't we?
Ugh. Looks like our first piece of evidence didn't convince him at all. Seems like he came prepared. What should we do next?
Hard evidence, something legally binding. Oh, come on. I meant the backup copy of the document from the Ministry of Civil Affairs. Oh, come on. I meant the backup copy of the document from the Ministry of Civil Affairs.
This document proves that my hairpins are the real deal, doesn't it? This is the Ministry's seal, after all. It shows that the ore inlaid on the pins is indeed smaragdus jadeite.
Our second piece of evidence didn't work either. And this guy's getting more belligerent by the second.
You know, you could be right. Perhaps the hairpins are the real deal after all.
Of course I'm right. All the evidence shown supports my story.
Well, hang on a moment now, because I do recall one final piece of evidence that we haven't revealed yet. Traveler, would you do the honors? This shall serve as decisive proof of our case.
What's this?
Smaragdus jadeite springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains and will bring disaster to any mere mortals who touch it. Sustained contact with smaragdus jadeite over a prolonged period will, in less serious cases, cause a mild malady, while in serious cases, the patient may suffer a dramatic change of personality and fall seriously ill. Mr. Crossell, were you aware of these peculiar properties of smaragdus jadeite?
I had no idea.
No idea, you say? I'd guessed as much. But for you to have rented out such a dangerous item, I'm afraid that this falls outside the scope of my work, but within that of the Ministry of Civil Affairs. However, I'm sure that the Ministry will be relatively lenient considering that, as you say, you were ignorant of the danger you posed. Don't worry, Mr. Crossell. I will make sure that all the evidence presented here will be handed over to the Ministry. I trust that you'll give them your full cooperation in their investigations.
What? Wait! I knew.
Oh, so you knew? Oh, dear Mr. Crossell. But if you knew of smaragdus jadeite's dangerous properties beforehand, why would you...
Huh? No, The hairpins aren't actually
inlaid with genuine smaragdus jadeite? Is that what you were about to say? You do understand, Mr. Crossell, that this means that you will have to pay Ms. Sir Chow 10 times the original price in Mora? Mr. Crossell, your answer, please. My client and I are waiting.
Yamp, he's seriously intimidating right now. It's like she's a different person.
I admit it. I confess. The ore I had inlaid on those hairpins was smaragdus nephrite. But I'm a victim in all of this, too. I invested a great deal of time and money into acquiring that small amount of smaragdus jadeite, in the hopes of turning it into a piece of jewelry that would fetch a fine price. But after receiving it and carrying it around for a few days, I started to feel extreme discomfort. I couldn't sleep a wink or eat a single bite. I was in a constant state of agitation, too. I went to Boo Boo Pharmacy to get myself checked out, only to discover that this sort of stone cannot be worn as jewelry. But how could I let all that money go to waste? That's why I had another pair of hairpins made from smaragdus nephrite, which is almost indistinguishable from smaragdus jadeite. I kept the real smaragdus jadeite in a specially made box. I daren't touch it again. I was worried that someone would see through it, which is why I only dared to rent them out, not sell them. And then to top it all off, Jiqiao lost the hairpins after I rented them out to her.
Exactly! If they weren't the real deal, why'd you make her pay so much?
I didn't want to either, but when I purchased that smaragdus jadeite, some of my business partners found out. I knew they'd be watching closely to see how much I could make off it. If word got out that I sold a pair of fake hairpins, then my days in this line of business would be over.
All right, let's cut the appeals phase right there. I failed to see what bearing any of this has on your transaction with my client. According to the contract, you must pay Ms. Sir Chow 10 times the original price in Mora, and that is final.
10 times?
Croso looks like he could faint any second.
As for me, according to my contract with Ms. Sir Chow, 20% of that sum will go to me.
20%? That's as much as I spent on that smaragdus jadeite.
There's no need. It's fine. You don't have to pay me that much, Mora. Even if the Smaragdus jadeite on those hairpins was fake, I still bear responsibility for losing them. Legally or not, I think I owe some compensation for that.
Ms. Jichao, you...
However, Mr. Crossell, since you have no use for that chunk of Smaragdus jadeite, why don't you give it to me instead? I'll consider us even.
What? But all right then. This cursed rock's brought me enough grief as it is.
Miss Yanfei, I'll turn the Smaragdus jadeite over to you. I trust that it will suffice as remuneration?
Well, that's not quite how the rules say this should go. But whatever. It'll do.
Thanks so much for your help this time, Miss Yanfei. When you have the time, I'll be sure to visit and express my thanks more appropriately.
Oh, come on. No need to stand on ceremony. Now, if I may confirm this again, Mr. Chow, have you and Mr. Crossell come to an understanding?
Well, yes, I believe we have.
Well then, that's good. Mr. Crossell, it seems that my client has no further claims against you.
Is that so? That's good. That's good.
Actually, Mr. Crossell, I'd like to talk business for a second, if I may. I could see from the hairpins you produce that you're very skilled in jewelry design. My family, on the other hand, works in the ore business, and we have a fair stock of fine ores. If we could join forces, your jewelry designs and our choice ores, I think we could do some fine business between us.
Let me think for a moment.
Well, that's that. And we've got the Smaragdus jadeite that Granny wants too. All's well that ends well, eh?
Exactly. Usually when someone tells us they've lost something, we end up searching all over the place for it. But even though the solution didn't involve actually finding the hairpins.
The right solution depends on your perspective on the problem. The objective of my client, Mr. Chow, was to reduce her liability to pay compensation. An Adeptus. Speaking of, you took part in that battle, didn't you? In which case, Liyue Harbor is now a city ruled by humans. The title of Adeptus means precious little to me compared to my job in any case. Don't you think that the Liyue Harbor of today needs legal consultancy for—
Paimon can think of someone who would definitely disagree with your reasoning.
Well, since we got what we came for, it's time to pay Granny a visit.
You've returned. Good, good. Then we have all the materials we need.
Well, if we're all set, Granny, I'll get going now. Got a ton of clients waiting for me back at the office.
Oh, you? All right, then. Go see to your business. Granny should be able to handle the rest.
I'm off then. Bye! Oh, yes, Traveler. Make sure you don't lose the business card I gave you. I've been looking into the laws of other nations as well. If you should ever bump into any trouble with the law, come find me directly. Regulars get discounts, too.
Come now, child. Are you leaving or are you not? If you have no wish to leave, perhaps you'd like to help me clean my teapot,
I'm leaving! I'm leaving!
That child. Goodness knows where she learned to be so rambunctious. Her father was hardly so riotous or... Indeed she is. Liyue has changed. Yanfei might be overly garrulous, but she is also the most intimately acquainted with... Liyue is not the same place. All right, then. Let us speak of this no more.
Oh, Paimon's so excited! How is it made?
It is but a single There we go. Hold it firmly. Take these blueprints with you as well.
Wait a minute, Granny. How exactly?
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I've already arranged for a...
This is a peaceful day.
In adventuring as in business.
Wow! This teapot seems even bigger inside than Madame P. Huh? But there's just a Paimon can't still. Oh, wait a sec. Wow! It's a huge finch! Excuse me, I am not a finch. I am a teapot spirit, and you may call me... hang on a moment. What am I supposed to be called again? Oh, call me. I suppose you may call me Tubby. So you're the little helper. Madam, you may leave all. Your journey may be far from over. Though it is the Adepti who create realms such as this, they thus, we teapot spirits were created to you may consider. Now, have you any... As long as you have a blueprint, you... Blueprint? Yes, these are the blueprints I'm talking about. Go on, just commit the image, then simply Wow! Is that all it takes? Then we could build a whole city inside, couldn't we? I doubt it. He said this world is a golden eye. I hardly remember my... Well, let's not. If there's any... Maybe you're not used to...
If you ever have any questions...
Well, hello. I didn't expect to...
Traveler! Anything interesting? Which do you like more? Cats? Wait, no! Paimon's not...
Come on, enough procrastinating. Let's go.
rite of parting? Did something terrible happen
Have you heard?
again?
The rite of parting.
Traveler, please, over here. It has been a while since you joined the Adventurers Guild. Are your adventures going is that so? Another person to count on is always good after all.
Yep, and it's even
Ah, yes. Let me consult our records. Ah, there it is.
blonde. Dresses all... Wait! Do you mean... Does that stranger's face look anything...
Like the honorary knights? No, they couldn't look more different. This stranger is a very tall man, and even has an eye patch.
Seriously? How does this have anything to do with...
That stranger declined the guild's invitation, so I can't say that I know anything about the... Nonetheless, you can look for him if you're interested. Perhaps he might accept... After all, it is not uncommon for some adventurers to not want to be limited by the guild. And should the stranger be a strong adventurer indeed, he would certainly be a big help on your journey. Please don't talk down on yourself like that. You are the honorer. Your deeds are the stuff of song for all the bards in the city, even now. Well, as to further news about him, you may he stands guard at the city gate, so he may know something about that. I wish you every success.
Honorary knight. Is something the matter? A stranger with an eye patch. Let me think. He was wandering all over Mondstadt at first, which I found rather suspicious. I lost him pretty quickly. Still, I didn't think that this was such a huge as long as Master Jean is here, there's nothing to fear from some suspicious, unusual-looking person.
That might be true, but if it were up...
That is true. Anyway, you should go ask him.
What? You need something? Here, I remember him. He showed up a few... Can't say I've heard of any of the materials he mentioned, though. He then had a look at the weapons in my shop before leaving. I've heard that he can be found drinking at the Angel Ship. If the Knights or the Guild want to get hold of him, that's the only place to be.
The Angel Share? Well, Master Diluc probably has his... Anyway, let's go to the Angel...
What will it be? Grape juice or apple cider?
Hey, Charles! Have you seen a blonde stranger who wears an eye patch around here by any chance?
That I have. He comes here every night. Just a drink, though. Doesn't order anything else. He even sometimes mixes his own drinks after he orders them. I don't know anything else about him, but from his selections and mixes, I'd say that he's quite the connoisseur.
And what's Master D-Luke's opinion?
Why, I just gave it to you. Quite the connoisseur.
Investigating everything as always. Guess that's D-Luke for you.
If you're looking for that gentleman, he ordered some new bottle of wine in advance yesterday. So he should be here today, too. There's too many raucous patrons on the first floor, so if you want... Ah, welcome, sir. The wine that you previously ordered is here.
He's really here? Let's go downstairs and have a look. Wow, he's got no intention of paying us any mind, huh?
A traveler, you say? Why are you traveling? Well, that's as good a reason as any. Sit down over there, then.
So, guess we've broken the ice. What a weird guy.
That little one beside you.
We're the best of friends.
It's indeed a good thing to have someone accompany you on your travels. My name's Dainsleif. I suppose you have some business with me? Sure.
And he was so cold just a moment before. Paimon's got a bad feeling about this.
But I will require advance payment. $500 mora, and 3 answered questions. The 500 is a one-time fee, and we'll settle the questions in a moment. That's it.
Well, now Paimon's got a really bad feeling. That kind of compensation can't be right.
Ah, thank you. Now, as for my questions, I'd like you to answer them here and now. The answer to a question says nothing about right and wrong, only about differences in attitude. I only wish to know what your choices are. You need only answer. Question 1. The crisis Mondstadt faced was resolved by an alliance between yourself and that... I know everything that I should. Well, answer the question. Is that your answer? I see. Question number 2. Rex Lapis, who has defended Liyue Harbor for millennia on end, used his gnosis to lay down a contract to end all contracts, of which the stipulations are still unknown. Who do you think will defend Liyue Harbor in the future, now that they've lost their deity? So that's your answer? I see. Now for my final question. This world has people who gained visions, and those who did not. Which of the two do you think hold more importance in the eyes of the gods? So, this is your answer then? I understand. It seems that you're different from her. I'll take that 500 mora. And now I also understand your views on this world. As we agreed, you may now commission me. That said, I only take commissions related to the Abyss Order. Like you, I am currently on a journey. You intend... Ugh. Those creatures that serve the Abyss are the fangs and claws by which the Order spreads chaos in this world. I have come to Mondstadt this time while on the trail of an Abyss Herald.
An Abyss Herald?
An even more twisted abyssal being, one that commands the Abyss Mages.
Oh, that's right! We've just been fighting against the Fatui and Liyue, who are human too! We haven't encountered the non-human Abyss Order at all!
There's some reason behind that, I'm afraid. It's possible that they may have been under orders to avoid your path.
Oh, that does sound pretty dangerous. Uh-huh! We're super-duper strong!
That manner, it's just like hers. Well then, let's go see for ourselves, shall we? According to the leads I have on hand, the Abyss Order has re-infiltrated the Temple of the Falcon. Let's meet up at the temple. Perhaps your questions about the
What would you like? Dandelion wine.
The rite of parting.
Haven't you heard? There's a strange walker in your...
Ad Astra Abyssa.
This abandoned temple does bear the Falcon of the West, though it can soar in the wind. Oh.
Nice and spicy. Open sesame. Oh, now I'm hungry.
Don't blink. Cut to the chase. Incoming. Don't blink. Judgment. Incoming.
Not bad, as far as treasure is concerned.
Don't blink.
The scent of the abyss is getting stronger. It's not far now.
Paimon wonders what the Abyss Heralds look like. Do they look something like the Abyss Mages?
Let's head further in first. If we do see that creature, that'll spare me the explanation either way.
You can't run. Out of the frying pan, into the fire. Judgment. You're toast. It really hurt. With sword comes shadow.
Change of plan.
Nowhere to hide. Speed of light! With sword from scatter! You can't run! Don't blink! You can't run! Punishment! Boba, get them! Speed of light! Hey! Incoming! Cut to the chase! Speed of light! Out of the frying pan, into the fire!
Just a few abyss mages? Seems like that herald the abyss. It is chaos that. And the creatures.
You seemed in...
I suppose that's judging by the trait. Perhaps we...